everyone, my name is Zelinsky. As some of you might recognize me, I was in Miss Hopkins' class as a junior participant from Buffalo State College before the school shut down. So today I'm going to be teaching a lesson on comprehension. As many of us know how important comprehension is in your daily life, it is also very important when you're reading a book, especially a nonfiction book. So today we're going to be reading a nonfiction book, and we're going to try to identify the sequence of events of her life. The her I refer to is Ray Montague. Here's a picture of her. A little background information on her. She was born January 21st, 1935 in Arkansas. She passed away October 10th, 2018. She was the first woman to lead ship design. She's in the movie Hidden Figures. She worked on U.S. Navy ships, and she entered Arkansas's Women's Black Hall of Fame in 2013. So that's pretty interesting. For this activity, you're going to need scissors, tape or glue, pen or pencil, or any writing utensil, and this worksheet here. So under the video, your teacher is going to post how to print out that activity. If you don't have a printer, it's no worries. You can write it on a piece of paper, and I'll show you how we'll do that after we are done reading. So, just a little review on what sequence of events is. It is the order of a set of things or ideas in which they happen in a book, in your daily life. So today we're going to find those important ideas on Ray Montague. Now, there's going to be 10 events that we're going to find, and I'm going to give you 5 events in the order they happened, and you are going to find the other 5 events and put them in the order that they happened. So, little background information on the book. We are going to be reading The Girl with a Mind for Math, the story of Ray Montague, written by Julia Finley Moscow and illustrated by Daniel Riley. The reason I chose this book is I'm currently taking a class called Women in Mathematics at Buffalo State, and I never realized how important it is for us to know about women in history. As we all know, a lot of men are in textbooks, like Albert Einstein, of course we all know him, but women aren't really mentioned in textbooks. So when I learned about Ray, I was pretty interested. She's a very important person to know about for information about our U.S. Navy and how the submarines started. So I thought you would enjoy this book as much as I did, and we can also learn a little bit about her life as we do a comprehension lesson. So that's pretty interesting to combine social studies and English together. Let's see. As I read the book, feel free to pause at any time, take notes. I'm going to be asking questions while I read. These are just deeper thinking questions. You do not have to answer them formally. You don't even have to write them down. They're just to think about. So let's begin. The Girl with a Mind for Math, the story of Ray Montague. Let's push this a little closer. If there's something you want, but it seems out of reach, here's a story for you, a great truth it will teach. When you focus your mind, you'll succeed through and through, like one bold engineer by the name Montague. In a state we call Arkansas, one winter day, a baby was welcomed, a girl they called Ray. She was as bright as a star, super smart from the start. She was headstrong, this child not faint of heart. Yes, this girl had potential, her granddad was proud. He told her, work hard and you'll stand out from the crowd. Then something she cherished when Ray was just 7. He took her to see her first ship. It was heaven. A real submarine? Her eyes opened wide. Who made it, she asked as they followed the guide. Engineers, said the man, giving Ray's head a pat. But my dear, you don't need to know all that. At the time, the man's insult went over her head. No, you can't were the words he meant, but not said. Now, why do we think he thought Ray did not need to know who built the submarine? Let's see. Engineering, thought Ray, and her life dream began, except most people laughed when she told them her plan. Stay strong, said her mother. Use your brains, you'll be fine. There will always be people who pay you no mind. Just because you're a girl and because you are black, don't let them or the state of your school hold you back. Do we have any reasons why we think people were laughing at her dream of becoming an engineer? Let's see. You see, school in those days were what's called segregated. The blacks and white students were kept separated. That's wrong, you exclaim. It was dismissal, no fooling, and worst of all, white kids received better schooling. So just a little review on what segregated means. Back in the day, before black and whites could be together, they had everything separate. Schools, bathrooms, drinking fountains. Blacks and whites could not be together like they were today. Everything was separated. And this book was made back in the day, so of course she could not go to school with whites. But Ray studied hard, she had grit, taught herself. She was gifted in math and read books by the shelf. When the time came for college, she knew what to choose. She learned to build boats, but she got bad news. Engineering not taught to black students, they said. Her heart hit the floor. I'll take business instead. She learned what she could and she'd learn the rest later. The rules were unjust, but that school wouldn't break her. Why do we think blacks and whites had different education? Why do we think Ray was not allowed to take engineering? Ray finished with honors, oh boy, what a smarty. She said her farewells, there was no time to party. I'm off to a place filled with history greats, the capital city of all 50 states. Now finding a job, it turned out that took time. She looked and she looked. Ray was not one to whine. Then it must have been fate. At least that's what it seemed. She was hired to type where she built submarines. The Navy, that's right. Oh, but hold all your cheers. Ship designing was only trained for engineers. So she watched as they worked and she learned every task, even studied computers by night in a class. Then her big break arrived. The whole staff got the flu. Ray did all her work and the engineers too. Her boss was in shock. How? He explored. From memory, said Ray, and with that got promoted. Life should have been well, yet that wasn't the case. Her boss treated her poorly because of her race. Many people like him tried to make her feel small. Ray just held her head high, and she outworked them all. So let's think ahead a little. Do we think Ray's going to lose hope in her dream of becoming an engineer, or do we think she's going to work hard and achieve it? Let's see. What's next? From the White House there came a command. The president ordered a ship. Make it grand, and quickly, he added. Well, that didn't fly. All those plans would take engineers months to supply. Here's the thing about that. When designing a boat, there are thousands of measurements one needs to note. All those numbers take math, and that takes some time. All but Ray had been working on some line. She took a deep breath. I can solve this, she said. I've come up with a system to do it instead. It'll draw the plans faster, she told them. Don't freak. I'll design the ship by computer, no sweat. How long do you think that might take? What's your guess? Would it take her a month, maybe weeks for success? Well, it took calculations and a ton of caffeine, but Ray finished in hours just over 18. Do we think they're going to accept her work? Let's see. Her program, it worked, and all the blueprints were done. The ship was constructed, and the engineers stunned. You did it, they cheered, and her boss had to say. And that quick mind for math had in fact solved the day. The end? No, not quite. When Ray's ship was unveiled, only white men can go, and Ray's invite not mailed. Say what? You heard right. No invite? In fact, she might say it was downright deplorable. Why do we think Ray wasn't invited? It was her work, right? Yet Ray kept her cool, gave her best every day, and in time all her skills were applauded. Hooray! People learned of her work. Who's this Ray? They demanded. When they met her, they stared. They expected a man. Yes, that happened a lot. Many could not believe that a woman of color did all she achieved. Some even thought Ray was a maid. Sad but true. When they ordered a drink, she said, "Bring me one too." All her humor and wit served her well through the years, as she battled the hard times with laughs and not tears. And that boss in the Navy who's been so unkind made Ray the first woman to lead ship design. More honors would follow, her fame picked up stream, and finally at last she achieved her dream. That title she worked for, an engineer. Score! Now the world knows her feats, she is hidden no more. Ray Montague, engineer. So the lesson to all is don't ever give in. Take a chance, rock the boat. If it sinks, you can swim. When a storm comes your way, hold your course and don't stress. Never quit, and like Ray, propel straight to success. So I hope you enjoyed that book as much as I did when I first heard it. Let's discuss a little bit about the book. I know we did some deep thoughts while we were reading. So when we were reading, we learned Ray had a dream as a kid to become an engineer. We know many people laughed at her. Many people thought, yeah, right, she's not going to become an engineer. But what did Ray do to achieve her dreams? As we read along, we learned that she never gave up. She worked as hard as she could. No matter what came her way, she always achieved it. She always stepped over the roadblocks in her way, and she came to meet her dream. We learned a lot about segregation and how schools wouldn't teach her engineering because she was an African American, and how when she got the job at the place that built submarines, she wasn't an engineer, so she couldn't build them. She did paperwork, so she did have a lot of things in her way to achieve her dreams, and we learned a lot about that. So now we're going to go into the lesson and fill in the sequence events graphic organizer. So this lesson is more for a third grader, but you can modify it any way you want. So let's start off. So if you can print this chart out, go ahead. The directions read, cut and paste the events in which they happened in the book. In the video, 5 were given to you, so your task is fill in the 5 missing events in correct order. So we are going to go ahead and I'm going to help you fill in the first 5. And then you're going to fill in the rest. And if you need a modified version, some parents might believe they need a modified version, which is fine. You are going to get 6 events. I'm going to fill in 3 and you're going to fill in the other 3. So let's get to that. I'm going to read off the events I have chosen for you. It says, Ray watched as engineers at her work accomplished tasks on blueprints. She learned to do their work and hers faster than them. Ray was honored for her work and became the first woman to lead ship design. Ray went to her first submarine with her granddad. Ray achieved her dream of becoming an engineer. Ray received a job in a place that built submarines. Ray graduated with high honors with a degree in business. Ray found out engineering is not taught to black students. Ray's dream of becoming an engineer was laughed at by many. Ray came up with the first computer system to complete blueprints for submarines. And Ray decided her dream was to become an engineer when she grows up. So, let me get a marker here. We are going to start over here, so let me move this a little closer for you guys to see. close as I'm going to be able to get it. So this is just a copy of the handout, just in bigger print. So what we're going to do is go back in the book and we're going to figure out what number 1 should be. So if we go back and we reread, you guys can go back in the video since you don't have a hard copy. So she was born. So it says here she went and saw her first submarine with her father, and I believe that was one of the events that we have chosen. So let's see. Ray went to see her first submarine with her granddad. So that is the first event that happened in the book. So we're going to put that under number 1. Now don't worry. If you cannot print this out, if you don't have a way to print it out, you can take the letters on the handout. So each one of the events have a letter next to it from A to J, and then each box has a number 1 through 10. You can just simply write, we think number 1 is H. So you can simply just write the letter of the event. If you cannot print this out, it is totally fine. So let's do another one. Let's see. Ray achieved her goal of becoming an engineer. So if we look back in the book, that's going to be the last event. So we're going to fill that in under number 10. And let's do a couple more. So I'm going back in the book and I'm rereading to make sure I'm correct on my answers. So Ray found out engineering is not taught to black students. So I'm not going to give you the answers to all of them. So this one we're going to put under number 4. So in between 1 and 4, there's 2 events that you need to find to lead up to this event. And let's do 2 more. So Ray received a job in a place that built submarines. So we're going to put that at number 6. So number 5, something happened in between 4 and 5 in the book that you need to find out. And one more. Ray came up with the first computer system to complete blueprints for submarines. Where do we think that goes? Do we think it was before she saw her first submarine? No, probably not. Ray found out engineering is not taught to black students. So that probably happened before she completed the blueprints. Ray received a job in a place that built submarines. Okay. So now we have 3 missing, and then she achieved her goal. So in between these three is where this one's going to go. So where do we think? So let's go back in the book and find out. So she found out they don't teach it to black students. Now she found a job. I'm thinking it's going to go under number 8. So I filled in 5 for you. Now you are going to fill in the missing ones with the events that I presented to you. So altogether there's 10 events. The letters do not go in order. These are just in case you can't print it out. It's easier just to write them. So I'll write those for you. So number 4 we think is D. Number 8 we think is B. Number 6 we think is F. Number 10 we think is G. So cut and paste the events in which they happened in the book. So go ahead and complete that. And you're going to send a picture to your teacher when you are finished with that. Now, for a modified version of this activity, we're going to go over here. And we're going to fill in 3 of these events. So let's read the events one more time. So, sorry about all this moving. So Ray achieved her goal of becoming an engineer. Ray went to see her first submarine with her granddad. Ray received a job in a place that built submarines. Ray watched as engineers at her work accomplished blueprints. She learned to do her work and theirs faster than them. Ray decided her dream was to become an engineer when she grows up. Ray came up with the first computer system to complete blueprints for submarines. So, let's fill in a few. Again, going back to the book. So Ray went to see her first submarine with her granddad. As we reviewed in the first one, this will go under number 1. Let's see. Ray achieved her goal of becoming an engineer. Where do we think that one will be placed? I'm thinking at the end of the story. So we're going to put that at number 6. And let's do one more for review. Ray watched as engineers at her work accomplished blueprints. She learned to do her work and theirs faster. So she went to see her first submarine, and she achieved her goal of becoming an engineer. So it's going to be somewhere in the middle, I'm thinking. So again, go back to the book, and let's see. So our options were Ray received a job in a place that built submarines. Ray came up with the first computer system to complete blueprints for submarines, and Ray decided her dream was to become an engineer when she grows up. And this one says Ray watched as engineers at her work accomplish blueprints. She learned to do her work and theirs faster than them. So I'm thinking it's going to have to be after she received the job. So I'm going to say it's going to go under number 4. Again, if you don't have a way to print this, you can write the letters that belong. No problem at all. And now you're going to fill in the last missing 3. Alright. And now again, your teacher's going to print or post these so you can print them if you can. If not, don't worry, just write them out. 1 second. So I'm done with my lesson here. I hope you understand sequence of events a little better now. I hope you guys enjoyed this book as much as I did. If you can, go tell your friends or family about Ray, because I'm sure most of them don't know who she is. So if you want, you can share the sequence of events graphic organizer you just made with them. You can tell them a fun fact about Ray. Try to spread the word about her, and also spread the word about sequence of events, because as we know, we use it daily in life. So many people need to know how important sequence of events is. So I hope everyone stays safe and healthy, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.